Okay, welcome. So the question is, how do I make a sprite and combine my sprites into a sprite sheet? All right, this is a game developer question. Um, so let's get into that. I'm Tim. Welcome to graphicsediting.org. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this one. So let's go ahead and start Gimp. And if you don't know really what a sprite is it's part of what's called game development assets, which is basically all the little pieces of your game that are um, just real stuff that you got to use to put your game together, kind of like ingredients in a recipe. And a sprite is basically a 2D. It's a 2D image. So we're gonna go ahead and start and go File, New, and let's make our sprite like 120 by 120 pixels, and we'll make sure that click on the advanced options, go to the background color, and make sure that's transparent. So once you've done that, you've got your little sprite here. And what a sprite ends up being is, like, say you got like a character and your character's gonna move along the screen. Like, let's make like a little circle or something. I'm gonna zoom in first, and say you're making a little mobile game, and you can decide what size sprite you want. If you want large sprites or small sprites, but say we're making a little character for a mobile game, and we want small sprites, so because we want our game to be super fast on a little Android phone or something like that, iPhone. Now, let's go ahead and let's just make an outline, basically, of a little character. And this is going to be just basic. This isn't going to be anything um, record breaking or earth shattering. The purpose of this is that we just want to, these are my colors, hit OK. Bucket fill. I'm going to go ahead and just create something to look at. And for no other reason than I just want to show you guys a sprite. So this is going to be my first sprite. I just put something on the page, on the template. And what I'm going to go ahead and do now is, and the way I would do this is, I would create a folder on your computer, and I would call it like whatever makes sense to you, like sprites. And then in there, I would name my different sprites. So whether it was like, my characters, I'd make another folder for, weapons. Maybe he throws fireballs or daggers or something. Another one for like platforms. Whether, say you're making like a little platformer, or maybe you're making like Flappy Bird, and you want like little enemies flying through the sky. And then maybe you want another little folder for collectibles, so maybe your little Nyan cat can, catch rainbows or whatever you're doing. Collectibles. And you're gonna make a folder for basically all the different stuff in your video game. And the sky's the limit. It's up to you. You can do anything. So, but right now we're gonna be working in our characters, and we're gonna just start with, basically, we're gonna call it purple circle. And this is just because we're making a quick tutorial just to show you the basics of sprite development. And so now we got our folder, and maybe it's in a bigger folder called our Android game. And in our Android game, we have our sprites. And in our sprites, we have our characters. And in our characters, we have character number 1, which is Purple Circle. And what we're going to do is go back to Gimp, and you want to save everything you're working on as its own project. So we're going to file save. We're going to go find that folder. How to make, oh, no, it's the Android game. So sprites, characters, Purple Circle, and we'll call this whatever you want this one to be. So this one will be basically Purple Circle 1. And you can give it more descriptive names like Purple Circle Flying, Purple Circle Firing a Fireball, Purple Circle Dying, anything. And then just go ahead and hit save, and it will automatically save it as a .xcf, which is right here, which is a Gimp project file. And what that means is I can close all this out and say I have to go to sleep now and go to work or school tomorrow, and then I come back home after that and I'm like, I want to go work on Purple Circle. So I can go into here and double click on the .xcf file, which is the Gimp project, and I can get right back to work on this little sprite that I'm working on. So in this first one, we'll just basically have a default, so which will be something like it'll basically be just Purple Circle. Let's make a new layer, new layer. And we'll call this like face. And we'll just give them an eye. Go ahead and copy that and paste it, Control C, and then Control V to paste, and then go to layer to new layer, so we can put that second one we just pasted in onto a new layer, and then we'll get our our mover tool, and we'll click and hold and drag it across here, and there we go. We'll go make a new layer, call it like mouth, and then we'll do something similar. Grab our rectangle select tool, and we'll make a little mouth, and this will be our basic default sprite. Select none, and let's go ahead and give it a background color of the character. So we'll call it character background color, and we'll go ahead and grab our ellipse, which is E, that's the circle. There we go. Got to be selected on the tool and then hit E, and then it will change. So we'll go ahead and drag this out so that way the outline properly covers it, and we'll just make let's make it like a weird green color. There's a nice one. And then bucket fill tool and fill it in, and select none. Now you can see that we're on the wrong side. The color should be behind the outline, so we'll drag it on our layers to underneath, and there we go. So this is our basic first sprite. So let's go ahead and file save, and what that did was it just updated our project file, so we can close it out and open it up, and you'll see that later on when you went back to work on it, you'll be right where you left off, and you always want to do that because you don't want to lose any work. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and save it, and what we'll do is we'll export it as by going to File, Export, and we'll save it as purplecircle1.png. And the reason you want to say .png is because PNG is a file format for pictures that has the capability of having transparent backgrounds. So go ahead and hit export. take your compression level down to 0, because we do not want to compress. When you compress, you lose quality, and you don't want to do that. Later on, you can compress a copy of your entire sprite sheet if you want to fiddle with having a faster loading sprite sheet by compressing it a little bit. But right now, don't worry about that. Just try to make the highest quality sprites that you can. So let's go ahead and look in our folder, and there we go. And let's double click on our image, and there is Purple Circle 1. So that's pretty good. Got a basic something to look at, sprite to look at. Now let's go back over here to, alright, so that's Purple Circle 1. So let's go ahead and make Purple Circle 2. And maybe on Purple Circle 2, the only thing that changes is the color. Maybe the color of the background changes. So we'll go click on the color of the background layer, and we'll select the select by color tool. Then we'll click on that green. Then go to colors, hue, and saturation. And we'll just adjust the hue to something else like yellow. Let's bring up the saturation a little and hit OK, and now we have a different color. So now we're basically looking at a new sprite. So let's go to select none, and we'll go ahead and file save as, and we'll call this one Purple Circle 2 and hit save. And then we'll go ahead and save the ping file too. File export Purple Circle 2.png. We're saving our second sprite. Export, export, and there's our second one. Now what we're doing is we're going to actually create the sprite sheet. So since our sprites are like 120 by 120, what we're going to do is we're going to make a small sprite sheet that we can put these on. Let's do one more color. Let's make like a red one. Color, hue. You can actually just click on the entire layer and go to color, hue, and go look for a new color. I kind of like the other colors, like I like that one too. So here's a red. So let's go ahead and click on that one's pretty good. Let me go ahead and change the hue saturation, and we'll bring the saturation level up and make it a little bit lighter, and that's pretty good. I like that right there. So we'll hit OK, and we ended up with kind of like a dark pink. So file save as, we're gonna, because we want every sprite on a different project, so we're gonna save the project first. Just change the 2 to a 3 and hit save, so that way we have a new .xcf. We'll hit save, and then we'll go ahead and save also by exporting. We'll go ahead and save the PNG file, which is the actual sprite. So Purple Circle 3, here's our new sprite, and there we go. And now what we have is 3 different sprites. So let's create a sprite sheet, and a sprite sheet is basically just a bigger template, a bigger picture that has all of your sprites on it. And then when you put in your video game, you can have the video game rotate through the sprites depending on which one you want to show at that given moment in your game. So since our sprites that we just made are 120 pixels by 120, we'll make it like 3 sprites wide. And you can make huge sprite sheets that are like 2,000 pixels by, like 2048 by 2048. And you can have just like all the sprites you want from the game, as many as you can get on there. But we're just making a small sprite sheet for a demonstration. So since 120 times 3 is, what is it? 360. So we'll go ahead and make a new sheet, file new, and we'll make it 360, and we'll make it 360 by 360, but you can make it any size you want. It depends on how many sprites you're going to end up having. And we'll make the background transparent and hit OK. And what we're going to do is we're going to import by going to File, Open as Layers, and we're going to import Purple Circle 1, Purple Circle 2, hold down your control so you can click multiple ones, and then Purple Circle 3 and click on that one and then hit Open, and you'll see them all load up as individual layers. So, and what we're going to do now is we're going to just arrange them. Here's one. We'll have our second one here and our third one here. Just using our move tool and grabbing on the color and moving it where we want. And we got room for 2 more characters, so we can have, like, you know, another different character on this row and then another different character on this row. Or we can have these 3. We can have this row, it can be him shooting a weapon, and then the bottom row we can have him dying for in case he runs into something that kills him. So let's go ahead and zoom in by clicking on the magnifying glass. Click and hold just outside the top left, drag down to just outside the bottom right, let go. And the reason we're going to do this is because we want, click on your first one. We want to make sure that the border is exactly on the border of the template. We have to put them in the right place so that the game can find them where they're supposed to be. So just drag it until this outside line of this character, that square, you see it lined up here. And then what I like to do is use a guide, and on Gimp you can grab the guides by just clicking in this ruler area and hold and drag to the other side of the sprite, and then go over here, grab the yellow one. Oh, you want to do the same thing for the top too, so grab that ruler up there and drag it down to the top of the template and just fit your character right in there. Then this one, you do the same thing, you'll put it up in this corner. See when I'm lining it up? Just lining them up perfectly symmetrical within our template. And then I'll grab another guide by clicking and holding on this ruler, dragging out to the outside of the yellow one. And then once I go to the pink one, I'll click on him and do the same thing. And we'll go ahead and get our next row ready too by just clicking up here in this ruler on top and dragging down to the bottom of these sprites and let go. And let's go ahead and zoom back out. Not that far. Let's zoom back in. And there we have it. And I could go ahead and show you that it's just a grid, like tic-tac-toe almost. But just imagine you make a large sprite sheet later on that's a huge tic-tac-toe with like 100 going left and right and 500 going up and down, you know, just different sprites from your game. And I'm gonna grab one of these and drag it to this guide just so I can like zoom in here and go ahead and just get the last guide set up same way I did before. We're gonna drag this down, and there we go. And now I'm gonna put him back. So there we go. Now we'll zoom back out. There we have it, and that's perfect. You'll be able to make your next 6 sprites and then just import them with File, Open as Layers, and then use your move tool and drag them to where they go. And then once you bring them into your video game, say you're using Unity or Game Maker or something like that, you'll be able to just bring your sprite sheet in and start using your sprites. So we'll go ahead and save this sprite sheet for Purple Circle. So we'll go ahead and file save as, and we'll call it the purple circle sprite sheet, and then we'll hit save. And we'll go ahead and save the ping too. So file export as, and then we'll save file purple circle sprite sheet.png and hit export. And export and go out of here, and there it is. There's our sprite sheet, and we also have the project file, so we can always just go right back in and we can pick up where we left off. And there we have it. So, and let's go ahead and double click on our sprite sheet that we made. Check that out. We can make like a little animation now. So once again, I'm Tim. Thank you for visiting graphicsediting.org. I appreciate you watching this YouTube video, and if you found this helpful, make sure you like and subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can get more videos like this. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments and I'll be sure to answer.